Greetings and welcome, listeners, to another episode of All You Can Geek, episode number 447 of the Gamecast. My name is Anthony Korkanakis, your host today, and we're joined by Corey Feinsod.
Yo.
And Mike Zanidi.
What's up?
Jim Gast cannot join us this evening. I believe he's down in Washington, D.C. on a...
I think that's next week, actually.
Oh,
this week, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know what he's on. He's doing something other
He's
than
in an
that.
undisclosed location.
Undisclosed location.
He's on location.
Yeah.
He's trying to find out this whole Battinson thing is real or not, and find out what happened to the writers of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what he wanted. Like, he was just so disgusted by the finale that he's like, I need to find D&D and show them who's boss and stuff like that. But it's all right. We'll get by without him, like we always do. We'll press on. So let's see. What do we have? We'll start off with what we've been up to. I have not been doing too much other than League of Legends. There's an event right now, and it's also doing like was it semi-annual, like the halfway point in the season. So like they had a huge tournament, and it was actually a really big upset where like for years the Korean teams have been like clearly like number one, but last year an EU team won. And then this year, there's a North American team that actually did really well. So in the finals for this tournament, it was actually North America versus Europe, which is like the first time it's ever happened. So like it was actually like pretty big news and just noteworthiness. So it's like, holy crap! Right. And like there was a lot of interesting things come out of that, and people were excited and stuff like that. So that was really cool. But nothing new for me. So Corey,
well, I've been plugging away at Xenoblade.
Yes, thank you.
And because I know I told you like I would try to focus on that, because I actually have Tony was nice enough to lend me his copy of it so I could finish it, and I didn't realize I was actually much further back than I thought, and so like I've been kind of just doing a little grinding, trying to get myself up to level, and like it's funny because like you're stuck in an area, not stuck, but you're in an area forever, and you're just like killing mobs and like just doing stuff, and then you forget that you have to go level yourself up. Like you're getting all this XP, but I'm not leveling up. And then like, oh yeah, I have to fucking go to
the inn,
and level up. So I'm like, oh, I better do that. So I did that, and I got like 5 levels for my characters. And I was like, oh shoot. I was like, no wonder this has not been as easy as before. I mean, it's not like Jim and where he forgets that he has skills that he can make
abilities.
But yeah, so now I finally did that. And then I was like, you know what, I have like all these rare and legendary cores, and like I'm just gonna see what I get here. So I spent 15 legendary cores, and I think I spent like 20 rare cores, and I only got 3.
Oh wow!
3
really?
characters that were
that's
non
so bad,
generic.
Damn,
yeah, it was really upsetting. And like I was starting to like just do them like you better. I was like, oh, fuck. So yeah, I only got 3, and I did not get Cosmos. So
I know. That's a shame, man.
Yep, but that's all fine. I'll get her eventually, I suppose, at some point. But in the meantime, yeah, I've been having a lot of fun just getting back into it, and I was like whittling this one. I was like on level with this one big, not boss character, but like a big enemy, and like it kept spawning more mobs. Like it's like never ending. You had to kill it before it like would stop. And so I finally got like all my little orbs spinning around. You know what I'm talking about.
The shit out of it, yeah.
And so I go and do my thing, and I was focused on a mob.
Oh no. No, dude, no.
I just wasted it all on the mob, which sucks because as soon as I get out of that, now I have no bars left to actually heal myself if like I die.
Got knocked
and
out,
so of course I got wiped out in like the next minute or so. So I couldn't build that bar up. And obviously, if you know Xenoblade, you know what I'm talking about. So it was like no. As soon as I hit the button, I was like, wait, what? No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I've done that too, though. But yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, that's actually really.
Do you know what chapter you're on, or
I'm still in 8. I'm still climbing the world tree.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a cutscene where you see like Indal's ship fighting other ships.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right, that's cool.
Yep. So I'm up there, and I think I'm close to the end of chapter 8 at least. But there's 10 chapters, I think.
Yeah, chapter 8 is like I think the last big chapter. Chapter 9 is like super short, and then chapter 10 is even shorter. It's like, oh, sure.
Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty much towards the end. It seemed like I was wrapping it up pretty much.
Yeah, you're pretty much. That's I think the World Tree is like the last major area. Then it's just kind of like, oh, okay, more location based. Like, oh, this is. I'm not gonna say anything, but like, it's just, oh, okay, like cool.
Cool. Yeah. So I hope to have that completed by the next episode.
All right.
Cool.
That's my goal.
I've been playing more MK11. I've gotten to the point in the crypt now where I've done most of the major puzzles, although I'm sure there's some weak walls I haven't found yet for a few more treasures. But now I'm to the point where there's ridiculous grind walls stopping my progression.
Oh, you finally hit the grind walls, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's
you pay to break them down or no?
No.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a thing where you would have to. It's kind of like the end game of the crypt in a way, because you there's like shrines for each character's heads, and you unlock their decapitated head if you perform 50 fatalities or brutalities on that character in regular gameplay. And then once you do 10 of those, you unlock a certain doorway to a certain room. And once you do all of them, you unlock an additional doorway. And so it's pretty crazy. And what's annoying is they won't let you do that. They don't count online or multiplayer for that. You have to do it like within towers, because I guess they don't want you to get with a friend and like cheese it. But so the crypt is pretty much done for me for a little while until I do all that. Which, I mean, it's, again, I'm torn on it. I'm like, this is annoying that I can't progress within there on my own. I mean, you could refresh some of the pre-existing treasure chests by like using coins, and they'll come back a few, although you have to search it out which ones came back. But at the moment, to find a new area in the crypt, I have to get through these crazy grind walls, which are interesting, I guess, but they're a little ridiculous. I think they could have been more reasonable.
Sounds like the end game of this is not as in depth or as robust as Injustice. Is that fair?
The thing is, Injustice, it was robust in a way that the gear was more interesting and just a lot more of it, and it had loot boxes, but the loot boxes were like how the gear was there, so you would occasionally get duplicates, which is annoying. There's no duplicates here. You don't ever get duplicates, but there's just 3 different sort of pieces of gear which don't really change too much with each character, and then there's just skins you unlock. And there's like 60 skins per character, but compared to the permutations of like 5 pieces of gear that you could like color different ways and do everything with in Injustice, it's just not even close to being as interesting or a level of depth to it.
Plus, you had like live events too with Injustice.
Yeah, I mean, you have that kind of too. There's like towers that come and go, and you can also do similar things where you team up and fight bosses.
Like that? Remember that? What was it? They had the different clan you could join, and then like is that in this game as well?
No, I don't think there's something like that for this one. They don't have the clans. You can just team up with people to fight bosses together that are like too hard for one person to beat normally. So we'll see. I'm about 50% in my online gameplay against people. But now I'm sort of incentivized not to waste my time on that, because my fatalities and brutalities don't count towards that 50 mark to get the heads for the crypt. So I don't know. I kind of wish that those would count. I know people could cheese it, but who cares if it's just so you can unlock a different looking area really within the crypt. But whatever, I'll still keep going. We'll see how long it takes before I get tired of it.
As far as fighting games go, I definitely think that they have a great end game for people to play, at least for solo players.
Yeah, no, it's still like I'm obviously playing. I'm not playing it with anyone I know, and I've only played about. I'm like 50 and 50 or 60 and 60 as far as online matches. So I mean, that sounds like a lot, but it's really not compared to what I most see out there a lot. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. So the actual fighting gameplay is I do prefer it because it's a little slower paced than the previous ones, and it's a little more cerebral as opposed to just juggling forever.
All right.
So it's good.
Okay, cool. Well, let's move into the news. So first thing on our agenda is the ex-PlayStation boss thinks Sony is positioned well for the next generation. Surprise, surprise. So ex-Sony president and CEO Jack Tretton believes that Sony is well positioned to compete in the next generation console market, which is kind of like a given. Like I'm surprised it's even like,
I think McDonald's is well positioned in the fast food market.
Yeah. It's like, okay. So, does anyone think that Sony's not well positioned for PlayStation 5?
Yeah, it's like one of those quotes. It's like, well, duh. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you don't screw it up, you'll be fine. Like,
I mean, I guess the only thing I could say between at least the competition between Sony and Microsoft is whoever came in first the previous generation took a step back the next one. So maybe that's what he's saying, that they won't be like the step back the next generation. But
I mean, maybe it's one of those things where like, I don't know. It just, I think everybody now, especially like they're so specialized. I mean, Nintendo broke off, back in 2006 with the Wii. They're like, you know what, you guys have the technical, arms race with like just, HD graphics, all that kind of stuff. We're going to concentrate on whatever. And what with, the gimmicky, like the Wiimote, and then with Wii U, which didn't pan out, unfortunately, and stuff like that. And then now that everybody's HD, it's like, okay, well, Xbox is offering, is doubling down on their services, the Xbox Live platform and, Game Pass, Xbox Live, that whole thing. And PlayStation is still mostly traditionally about first-party games, though they are branching out to that same, stratosphere because, let's face it, you kind of have to. Once something is proven as successful, I mean, everybody kind of is like, all right, well, how can we adapt that? And, I think it's just a matter of time until even Nintendo does that. To a lesser extent, they've done that with like Tetris 99, where it's like, hey, here's a free game as long as you have Nintendo Online, and we're going to run tournaments and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of an incentive to like use the subscription service. The one thing that I will say is that it will be interesting this generation because I think last generation, like Sony kind of won by default, whereas like the Wii U just flopped right out of the gates. It was like a non-competitor. And then Microsoft just totally fucked up with even before the system even was released with the whole
TV.
Not even that. It's like, why would you live there? Like with the whole Adam Orth leak, where he was just like shit talking, like people like, why would you live in the Midwest where you don't have good internet and online only like that? I mean, I think people still don't understand how savage that was for like the terms of like the reception of the Xbox platform, even before we knew the final name of the system and stuff like that. But yeah, then the whole TV, and the whole Kinect, doubling down on the Kinect. You had a more expensive system that was less powerful. It's just like, it was such a recipe for disasters. Like Sony's just like, literally they won by saying like, hey, here's how you share a game with your friend. Put the disc in their hand. It's like, that's literally how Sony won. Yeah. It's like, well,
it's like, do you remember how you did things last generation? You're going to do them this way with a little bit better hardware. So it makes sense. And I mean, it's not that they still were putting out great content later in life, obviously, PlayStation, and it's selling great. I mean, it's almost outsold. Yeah, it's outsold. It's doing fantastic. I can't say that it's outsold, but it's doing really well. Although I don't know if did you see? I don't know if this news is on there, but like the Switch apparently passed the PS4 sales in Japan.
Yep. It's like a little over 8 million for both now, but Switch just managed to pass over the PlayStation 4, which is interesting because it's one of those things where we talked about before where like Sony has shifted away from just like being Japanese focused to like a more worldwide focus with like
EU too, like they hit hard.
Yeah, especially like that's one thing I will give Sony a lot of credit for is like their studios are like well positioned in terms of a global scale. So like they have
they call them the worldwide studios.
Yeah, the worldwide. They have Sony Santa Monica. They have what is it? The Gran Turismo. Who makes the Poly or something? Yeah, something like that. They have the European series and stuff like that. So like I think it's great because
Naughty Dog, obviously.
Yeah, Naughty Dog and stuff like that. So you have all these developers around the world that really do add their own flavor and stuff like that. So
Guerrilla is one that's
Guerrilla Games, yeah. So they have that kind of stuff. So it's good. And the thing is like we can talk about sales, but I just don't think that's a good way to like really talk about competition these days. I mean, yeah, it's mostly for like bragging rights and online forum wars, but it's like, look, as long as the company's profitable, more games are coming out, the games that you're interested in are coming out, like, who, you know, what does it matter, you know?
I guess the other thing that Jack Tretton could be talking about is just the dominance of PC gaming too. Is like, you know, that seems to be where most people are heading, and so maybe he's just reiterating that, hey, consoles are a place to be as well.
Yeah.
Next generation thing.
Yeah, something interesting, but you know, I don't think there's any possibility that, you know, PS5 is going to be a total failure unless they go back to like $599 and it's like, yeah, no about that.
Yeah, well, unless they have that premium product that Jim's saying, it's possible they have like one version that's a premium version, but
but you have to have like that base,
the $400 one.
Yeah. All right, moving on. So Epic Game Store is running a summer sale for all their catalog.
Steam sale style.
Yep. And so what their sale pitch is, any game that's $19.99 or more, you get $10 off the price. But the thing that Epic did is, instead of like, it's not something that the publishers opted into. It was just like, Epic's like, hey, whatever game you buy, we're going to give you $10 back or $10 off. And they're eating the cost of that. So like, you know, somebody like, for this particular story, Take-Two, like, they're going to see the full price of what they would get from a Borderlands 3 sale instead of like a reduced price, because now the game is reduced in cost. But apparently there's some shenanigans, because Borderlands 3 and a few other select titles were pulled from the Epic Game Store over this sale price, which, you know, a lot of people on like Reddit or Reset Era are using it as like, yuck, like, you know, Epic Game Store can't even do this right. And it's like, yeah, okay, like I get it, but we don't really know 100% why it was pulled. I mean, obviously it has something to do with money, but somebody brought up an interesting point where, because Borderlands 3 is a game that's not just PC, it's, you know, obviously the consoles too, that you get into this fight with the retailers over like price fixing, where it's like, you offer the PC game for that $49.99 because it's a discount, and then it's like, well, why aren't we offering the, you know, Xbox and PlayStation versions for that same price? Because now it makes our game in our stores look like a less attractive price point and stuff like that. So it's one of those. I suspect that that's going to be it, but you know, who knows?
Yeah, I saw something similar where it's like, the idea is that you're devaluing the people that bought this game prior to this, so now you have to retroactively also like give those people this discount, because now, hey, you haven't actually bought the game yet.
Yeah, it's
pre-ordering the game, and now Epic is going to give all these people this discount, and all these people that bought it before is like, wait a second, like, how come I can't get this discount? I'm just going to cancel my pre-order and get it again. So it's like, you're making it harder for the publisher to have to deal with. Like, I mean, it's more work for Epic in reality, because they're the ones having the
but they're contacting the publisher too.
And it's also making it look bad for the people that bought it prior to this as well, because there's another game I think that was 50% off, which, I mean, for some games that are $20, $10 off is 50% off, but it was like, it went from like $40 to $20 or something like that, and like, people who bought it the day before or something didn't realize that it was going to get this, and so they were upset about it, and so it just makes much more headaches and trouble for publishers and things, and makes the game look bad in a sense.
Yep, exactly. And then, interestingly enough, not directly related to this, but Nintendo just announced this. So they had a Super Mario Maker 2 Direct last week. Let's talk about that real quick, because that game looks pretty freaking awesome. And longtime listeners, you'll remember that I thought that was a really big gem on the Wii U system, where it was like, this is one of the few games that like really takes advantage of the gamepad, because like you could literally use it in the, you know, stylus to make your levels and whatnot. It was really creative. It was, you know, a la like Minecraft X Mario or something like that. So to just see like all this new stuff, where like new tools like the slopes and whatnot, like they're just throwing everything in the kitchen sink into it. But at the end of the Direct, they announced this new program initiative, I think for the summer, where it's like a voucher program. So for Nintendo Online subscribers, for $99.99, you get 2 vouchers to redeem on the Nintendo eShop, which are good for Nintendo first-party titles and select third-party games, where it's like a voucher will get you the game. So in a way, it's a discount, because normally these games are priced $59.99 or, you know, $6. So it'd be 120, but you get that discount to bring it down to 100, which is essentially like that, 20% off like the GCU discount. So I was like, well, that's kind of an interesting thing, but just tying it into like where like Nintendo can't just offer these games for like that straight up reduced price. They got to come up with like gimmicky, like, oh, you buy like vouchers and we'll sell the vouchers for a discount, but then you can redeem it for, a full price. So yeah, so I think it's just another chip in the pile where it's like, you gotta not piss off Walmart. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, you just can't piss off Walmart.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. What else do we have in the news? One interesting thing that came out of left field, in my opinion, because I saw the headline and I was like, what? Really? But Sony and Microsoft announced a new gaming partnership. So just on May 16th, they announced a bombshell announcement when they revealed that they were collaborating on a partnership where both companies will see new cloud-based solutions for gaming experiences. And for everybody that's in the know, we're less than a few weeks out from E3 2019. Obviously, Sony won't be there, but Microsoft will. And it's led to a lot of people speculating that we could see a departure from the traditional console market, as we know it, and pursue other things like with Google Stadia and other things coming out, Apple's mobile ecosystem with the Apple Game Store, whatever the heck they're calling it, and stuff like that. But it's kind of interesting because Microsoft cozied up with Nintendo real hard this last year, especially this last few months. Between Minecraft and cross-platform play, even like having like both systems in the same commercial for Minecraft and stuff like that. To Cuphead releasing on Nintendo Switch, which has been, I think, #1 ever since it's been released, which is pretty cool. But Sony, they kind of gave the cold shoulder to, and now it looks like maybe they're having a change of heart. What do you guys think?
I mean, as far as Microsoft goes, they have that cloud technology experience and know-how, and so if you're a developer or a company like Sony and like you don't have that, it makes sense to kind of reach out to those people, and just so happens that they're your biggest competitor in the same market. But at the same time, like if you both are prosperous, you're all boats rise with the tide kind of thing. So it could be a benefit to them both, and it could open doors for future partnerships as far as cross compatibility in gameplay itself.
Yeah, that's really the only thing from my perspective that I would be looking for from something like this, where they can create a shared ecosystem for most of their games, and then like make crossplay the standard as opposed to the exception. I think this could be a step towards that, so I hope that's what it is. I don't know what it's really going to mean in practice, but that's what I hope.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like we heard all this cloud Azure stuff with Titanfall and Crackdown. Yeah. It's like, what does that amount to though? Like, what did we actually get? The power of the cloud. Like, I wish Jim was here for this because he would be all over it. And
we'll see. But kind of the interesting thing that even spawned outside of that, because I mean that news in itself is interesting, but David Gibson, who's like sort of like a pseudo, not insider, but like he's in the industry and stuff like that. He's saying that Nintendo and Microsoft most likely have a similar agreement. They just haven't publicly announced it. And again, that wouldn't surprise me just with how those two have been super cozy the past couple months or a year. If you look out, but Nintendo has a lot to gain from their streaming service, because obviously I think the biggest weak point of the Switch whole package is their an online system infrastructure, everything about that. So it's like Microsoft are experts in that. So they both have something to gain, where Microsoft leverages its services and promotes its technology, and Nintendo gets the benefit of not having to develop their own technology that Microsoft has refined over years, if not decades, stuff like that.
No, I agree. It's like, if again Microsoft can make money and Sony and Nintendo can make money, like that, everybody's happy. Right. All, and we as a consumer will benefit. So that's what I'm hoping for, because I would love to see like the Microsoft infrastructure not necessarily ported over, but the experts, take a look at the Nintendo side of things and be like, this is a little bit weak, guys. This is how you stir it up.
It's like, you should connect it this way. It'd be much faster.
Like, why are you using a telephone cord here?
Yeah, like you should be plugging Ethernet cable there. Yeah. Come on, let's get that nice fiber.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, the Switch has done so many things right. It's just it's unfortunate that their online infrastructure has been so far and lacking and far behind.
Yeah, it's one of those things where unfortunately they were just so late to that thing, and even to some extent I would say like Wii U, because that was their first HD system, and just like much like Microsoft and Sony, I mean there was a lot of learning curves behind that. Like, oh look, it's you have to invest a lot more resources because now everything is like deeper, everything looks prettier, this, that, and the other thing. So that's why this first crucial 2 years of the system, like all those games got delayed. I remember. Like Pikmin 3 got delayed, this, that, and the other thing got delayed, and it's just like, holy shit, like you can't sell a system and not have new games for months at a time. Like it just doesn't work and stuff like that. But yeah, they obviously learned that lesson, and hopefully Switch 2 or whatever the heck it is going to have a much stronger and robust modern online infrastructure. And then our last bit of news for the night is going to be the NPD report for April 2019 that just came out a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Let's start with the overall information. So total is $842 million, which is up 1% from April 2018. Hardware is at $160 million, which is down 29% from last year at $225. PC and console software is at $427 million, up 15% from $370 million last year. And accessories are at $256 million, up 5% from $243 million last year. April 2019 tracked spending across video game hardware, software, accessories, and gift cards totaling $842 million, gaining 1%. And the accessory, software, and game card spending offset the declines in the hardware. Obviously, that's why you had the 1% increase there. So we'll get into the software. Let me see here. Mortal Kombat 11 was the best-selling game of April. And it instantly became.
I'm not surprised.
No. Well, there's some people that were speculating Days Gone. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like Days Gone, an exclusive. It's a new IP, but like Mortal Kombat 11 is the latest in the.
Like they came off of Injustice and Mortal Kombat 10. It's just like people have been waiting. They waited an extra year on Mortal Kombat 10, also from Mortal Kombat 11, I should say.
Yep. So it instantly became the second best-selling game of 2019 year to date. And interestingly enough, it was also the best-selling game of the month on all platforms on which it released, that including PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Mortal Kombat 11 represents the first time a third-party published Nintendo Switch game was the platform's top seller in a month since Ubisoft's Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle topped the Nintendo Switch chart in September 2017. So yeah, props to NetherRealm Studios and
I don't know how that Mortal Kombat port is doing on Switch.
I mean, I check the Nintendo eShop every week for like just the sales, because they have pretty aggressive sales for the indie titles and whatnot. And Mortal Kombat 11 is top 5, I think, still ever since it launched. And it's been doing well. So
I just wondering about gameplay.
Gameplay. I mean, the thing I heard is like you still get that 60 FPS. It's just
looks shitty.
Yeah, it looks not as pretty.
I mean, not shitty, but yeah, it doesn't look.
Yeah, it doesn't look as good as the console.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did with the Vita. Is like they massively decreased the poly count.
Yep. So Days Gone was the second best-selling game of April, with debut month sales that rank as the 7th highest in history for a Sony-published title. After just 1 month in market, Days Gone is the best-selling game produced by Sony Bend Studios in lifetime revenues, which I don't think was hard for them to do.
No, they were Vita.
Yeah,
and they did Siphon Filter, I think.
Yeah, so it's not really that much of a cheat, but there you go.
It was funny. There's an Easter egg in the Days Gone that makes it seem like Days Gone is the post-apocalyptic world of Siphon Filter.
Oh god, that would be kind of funny. Yeah. So hardware and accessories. So hardware spending in April 2019 fell 29% when compared to a year ago. Nintendo Switch sales growth was offset by declines across all other hardware platforms.
So where was the game that shall not be spoken of?
We'll get to the list. We'll get to the list momentarily. Just talk about the blip here. We can mention it because Jim's not on this podcast.
Yes,
and,
fair enough.
He doesn't have to say in this. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform of both April as well as year-to-date across both units and dollar sales. And for the first time in a long time, the best video game accessory of April was the Amiibo Super Smash Bros. Series 1 character packs. So, yeah, Amiibo is still going strong, apparently, with that Smash Brothers thirst. Yeah, but software rankings, which we're all mostly interested in, top 20 best-selling titles, March 2019. As discussed, number 1 is Mortal Kombat 11. Number 2, Days Gone.
April.
Yep. I'm sorry. I don't know why it says March. I just reading a headline. Sorry. April. Number 2 was Days Gone. Number 3 was MLB 19, the show. Number 4 was Tom Clancy's Division 2, which does not include PC digital sales. Number 5 was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, also does not include digital sales. Number 6, that shall be named tonight, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 6.
Damn.
Yep.
Game of the century.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently, I'm not even sure if this is new, but I was in the store and I saw like they released some like Grand Theft Auto 5, like, I don't know, like online edition or something. I think it comes with like currency, like a bunch of currency or whatever. Yeah. So it's like it was a way for them to like boost that price, like the average sale price up again without like really giving you like, you know, them spending money, stuff like that. Yep. Number 7 is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, which again does not include PC digital sales. Number 8 was Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 9, NBA 2K19. Number 10, Yoshi's Crafted World. 11, Red Dead Redemption 2. 12, Mario Kart 8.
Top 20. What was it? What was it? Like a year? It'll be in the top 20?
A year. So not looking good for Jim.
No.
Number 13 is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Number 14 is Minecraft. 15, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Number 16 is Final Fantasy X and 10-2 HD Remaster. Number 17, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 18, Jump Force. Number 19, Battlefield 5. And number 20, Borderlands.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the other interesting thing to talk about is the top 10 best-selling titles year-to-date of 2019, because we're 4 months in, quarter. Number 1 is still Kingdom Hearts 3, which is pretty interesting because, even fended off Mortal Kombat 11, which again,
funny. I think people like just hearing that like the Final Fantasy games are on the top like 20 list here. I think people are dying for like a traditional.
Oh, they are.
And,
they are.
Yeah, so especially on Switch, man. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, I mean that was the thing. Like, Final Fantasy charted in the top 20 there, but it doesn't make the top 10 for Xbox or PlayStation, but it's there for the Switch. So it's definitely those thirsty Switch owners. For those Japanese games. But top 10 best-selling titles so far, 2019. Number 2, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 3, Tom Clancy's Division 2. Number 4 is Anthem. Number 5 is Resident Evil 2. Number 6, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 7, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 8, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Number 9, Jump Force. And number 10, MLB 19, the show.
Jump Force, I'm surprised that it's like such a bad game. But
I know, but it's just so weird, man. Like they just don't care. And like that's the thing is like I guess like it's like the equivalent of like licensed games where it's like, you know what, like but the thing is like I think it's like those anime fans like they don't like they just want to see their favorite characters beat each other up, right. Which is like in a way it's like kind of messed up because I think Bandai Namco has done a really good job with like the Dragon Ball Z titles because like I mean fighters like I don't play it that much anymore. Or I haven't played it in a while, but like it's a quality game. Dragon Ball Z. Xenoverse Tour, that was like really good. Like it was in depth and had a full story mode, create a character, that whole thing. So it was really well done. And this just comes out and it's like you're barely trying. It's like barely trying here, and like just the graphics look like shit, and yet you're rewarded with really really good sales. So I mean, I don't know what to say to that, but the one thing that stuck out to me was top 20. Anthem not even up there anymore. Like top 20. So Borderlands, a game from like what, over a decade ago?
Yeah.
Because it got a re-release. It is able to chart, but fucking Anthem, like not looking good. Not looking good. Had one good month of sales and that was about it.
Yeah, and with Division 2 doing as well as it is, like and Destiny still kind of is hanging in there, releasing new content every month. It's like, what's the point? Like, why move from those games? Plus, then you got Borderlands coming up. Obviously, that's going to blow up. That's going to be huge. I think. Comes out.
Is Destiny having a release this year? Like a
yeah, I assume that's like they but they haven't announced it. Their third season of content because they did they call it the annual pass this year instead of like the season pass. So they had the season of the Drifter, which is ending soon, and then this one is going to be the Conundrum season, something like that. So it's just like a whole bunch of content that's not necessarily like a big story aspect or anything like that. It's just content being thrown at you constantly. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes, because they're really relying heavily on like the puzzles and the mystery and the ARG games and stuff like that. So that's what this one is all about, it seems like.
All right. Is Bungie showing up at E3 or no?
I don't know about that. I think it would be Activision's call, or actually no, it wouldn't be. Would it? Oh.
I don't know.
It's a good call. I don't know. I don't think they are. I haven't heard anything, but I know that they probably are planning on releasing something this September, which is going to be probably destroyed by Borderlands.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Borderlands hype is so real right now. It's pretty crazy.
It's like Twitch. Like the Twitch stuff is like they're getting like a few thousand people every day.
Yep, just for like Borderlands stuff. It's really cool. Good for them. And then one actual thing, I didn't put it on here, but it broke earlier today. Just in time to post it in Discord. But George R.R. Martin posted on his blog about, obviously Game of Thrones wrapped up its finale for the last season. And he was talking about, stuff he's been doing recently. And one thing he mentioned was, I even went to Japan to consult about a video game. And so that apparently really got some people talking about what's going on with that. And the rumor right now is that he's joined with From Software, creators of the Get Good title Soulsborne games.
The Soulsborne?
Yes. Well, I mean, Soulsborne is like the genre that they say for like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. I guess it's like Soulsborne, Sekiro, or Soulsborne.
I know,
Soulsborne die twice.
Yeah. But it's not going to be set in Game of Thrones, as rumors, originated. But apparently it's going to be titled Great Rune, and it's going to be set in a Norse world exploring Norse mythology and its dark legends. Which I don't know. I think that could be really, really cool, actually.
Yeah, no, I love the Norse mythology, and like that's one of the things that really intrigued me about God of War's latest thing. And obviously, I like exploring different like cultures and what their gods and stuff. Like obviously the Greek gods and original God of War were like fantastic, and you love hearing stories about that, and not necessarily getting the true facts or whatever. I like the interpretations of characters and how they could be portrayed by different cultures, even like a Japanese take on these Norse mythology. It would be interesting to see what they come up with, and like the whole Grimm, fairy tales,
I personally think it's really cool because obviously we had like the God of War games to explore the Greek mythology. But, as we talked about last year when God of War came out, the one part where I was super disappointed in was just like the bosses and boss variety. Because like when you boil it down, there's like, I don't know, 4 main bosses I can really think of. And like there's a lot of recycles and whatnot. Where it's just like, it's a little disappointing. But From Software, I mean, they're just known for bosses. And I mean, I would love to fight like all the different Norse mythological shit. Because, when it comes to like just tales of like mythology, like both Greek and Norse have like plenty of shit to do. You have like all the monsters, you have gods, like you have beasts, like it's just and you have heroes and legends that you can take out, that From Software usually turn into legends. So it's just like you could fight humanoid creatures and then you could fight these big spectacle monsters, but like it's still challenging, and it's like I have to go back to Sekiro still, but I think it could be really cool, and especially if they've enlisted George R.R. Martin for his writing ability. Because the one thing I will say is like From Software games, not that they don't have a good story, but it's one of those ones where you really have to like dig deep. It's not like you can just play the game and like get a good sense of it. It's like literally like you have to like figure stuff out in the game and then go online, and then you have all these online discussions that people somehow dissected through like. I don't even know. I honestly don't even know, because like that's who I'm like. Who's this boss? Like I'll go and look it up, and then like they have this huge section of like story and like what like they really tied into and stuff. I'm like, how did you even get this from this game? I don't understand. Like, but reading it's like, wow, this is really cool. Like, whatnot.
They always tuck those lore bits away in like stupid like items and things like that. invest too much time in.
Yeah, so if George, is able to bring the story to the forefront, where it's like now you're marrying awesome gameplay and boss encounters, boss designs, with a story that you can put front and center in a somewhat familiar setting, and I think it would be boosted by the popularity of God of War at this point. I think you have a recipe for success. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just it was interesting to see a different take in the Norse world in God of War. So we can get another one from an unexpected place. I mean, that'd be interesting. And George R. Martin obviously is good at building a world, at least.
Oh yeah, 100%. Can't take that away.
So it could definitely help. I don't know if I would ever play the game because From Software games scare me, but
why do they scare you, Mike? I don't understand. Why do they scare you?
Well, I don't know. They look just kind of tedious sometimes.
I mean, all games are tedious if you break it down to like the core gameplay loops.
Maybe. I mean, again, I was considering Sekiro, but we'll see.
Well, you can borrow from Jim when you start with it, right?
Well, I was gonna say, are you more interested in North mythology than you are in like, ancient Japan's mythology?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know much about ancient Japan's mythology. I know a little about Norse mythology, mostly from God of War and Thor in comic books. So no, it'd be interesting. It's always interesting to get another take from an unexpected place like that.
And like what you said, Corey, I think is really cool because like the things are mythological. So it and just like real life, like you can read variants and like different takes on them because like in a lot of stories, Zeus is like a benevolent, kind, and generous god, and then other ones he's a total fucking dickbag that just wants to fuck anything that moves, and it's just like, oh well, okay, yeah, like those stories are just as valid, to a degree. It's just like what are you in the mood for? Are you up for those like heroic, like his takedown of like the Titans and stuff like that, or do you want him to being like a horny douchebag drunkard like that just cheats on his wife and does all this fucking shit to mortals to fucking troll?
Yeah, it's the truth that you see too. Like these gods, like if you were treated well by a god, you're gonna think he's benevolent and he's like this thing, and then if you get smited by him, you're gonna be like, oh, this guy's a bastard.
Yeah, he's a dick. Something like that. But yeah, I mean, it could be cool, and supposedly we'll be seeing it at the Microsoft conference. So it'll be interesting if it's going to be.
Last year, Microsoft had like 50 some odd games that they showed. So like, where are they? Like let's see some more.
Yeah. So we'll see, but I don't mind if it's an exclusive, like whatever. I own an Xbox now, but hopefully it's not like just no reason for it unless like From Software didn't have the money to front for that game, which I can't imagine was anything like that. But I think we are going to forego any type of topics. We've had a bit of a longer podcast with the different discussions, but we're getting closer to E3, and each week we're going to have more and more news. And despite the non-shows of a couple different entities, I think E3 is still going to be exciting because I have a feeling that we're at least going to hear
and stuff.
Yeah, at least I think we're going to hear from Microsoft's end of things, like their plans for next generation. Even though I don't think they'll full out come without all the details, like the name or the price, obviously, or anything like that. And they'll probably just give a year, like holiday 2020 or whatever. But I think Microsoft is at least going to tell us like a bit more details and just like kind of like tease, like, hey, this is our next generation of gaming. And obviously, I think they're going to put like Halo Infinite on the forefront, even though that's going to come out on Xbox One. That's going to be one of the things where it's like, yeah, you need the next Xbox to really fully immerse yourself as Master Chief once again. Something like that. So yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're listening or watching us on YouTube or listening to us via Podbean. You can send us an email at podcast@allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, hit our SoundCloud up, friend us on MySpace, and visit our page on GeoCities. So yeah, until next time, have a good night.